Lesson 3 is going to change this up a bit. We're going to be working with a few different letters. We're getting away from these strokes, consistent strokes of the earlier lessons, and we're going to get into these a sort of a different movement with our pen for each one of these. Notice the consistent movement on this one is this left way swoop. So at first I'm going to start with a C, and then once again, just as always, and we don't have to put this down, I'm only doing this as a way of demonstration. Hopefully you will just teach yourself to remember where your spaces are and how you'll be able to pull this off. All right, we're going to be using the lowercase letters that do not, take the entire space. We're going to use this shortened space here and the longer space. So when I decide to make a C, I begin at the top with my pen at 45. I come down and I bring it up. Now remember, what we can do is we make downstrokes. So I can hit the top of the C in that manner. Once again, come down, create a nice curve up, and then create the downward swoop. Notice I changed this a little tiny bit. I'm not sure if it's important. We should end it about where we start the top one. So if I'm going to come back to this, I'll end it here, just about touching that, and where I make my top swoop, I bring that down to equal that. Now the next one I do is very similar. It's going to be a letter D. I'm going to start with the same stroke that I did on the C, but now I'm going to start with that L stroke. Remember to move your entire hand. Now this might be acceptable. Sometimes we'll get in and we'll finish it off with a nice downward stroke like that. Let's try that again. I kind of prefer it with the downward stroke. In fact, this time I'm going to try to end it a little bit sooner and see if I can, or begin it a little bit sooner, and see if I can somehow well, you can see that we can use a variety of marks and techniques. What we're really interested in doing is bringing our letter all the way to the top here and all the way to the bottom. It's important to have this little triangle here, right at the bottom. And so that's a thing. I'm going to move on. My next one is going to be a letter E. This is very much like the C, but we just continue a little bit further. So I'll begin with the E in the same way that I began with the C. My pen at 45-degree angles. I bring it up, and then instead of just finishing like I did the C, I continue this stroke is sort of I start at the top and bring it straight back. I like to go at a 45-degree angle because it gives me the thinnest line right there, which just really causes these to have such a neat variety. Don't you love the way that these start thin, become thick, and then they thin out again? So once again, this will be our stroke. At a 45-degree angle all the way to the top, I bring it down, I touch the bottom, and come back up at a 45. Now, I'm going to swoop this around and bring it back. Once again, just like the C, we touch the bottom and come up at a 45-degree angle for that thinness. Since I am touching this line, I am going to bring my E all the way to that line. So, these are not entirely consistent. This is hand lettering after all, but the more consistent we can become, the better our calligraphy is going to look. Practice each one of these until you're certain that you can continue them consistently without looking at examples. I'm going down to the next line here. I'm going to start on the next letter, which is a G. So just like our last ones, or on our last lesson, we dropped below the line, I am going to use, I'm coming down to here. That is our consistent stroke, the same stroke as the C. Now with the G, I am going to finish this stroke, bring it up, and now go down, curving to touch the bottom here. I want my bottom curve to be the same width as the rest of my letter. So this part curves at the same width. Let me try that again. My pen is at 45-degree angles. I make my C stroke. I curve up from this one, come all the way down to here and curve, and I am moving my entire hand as I do this. I have a little bit of a flub right there, but for now, that's why I'm practicing. My pen is at 45. I'm moving my entire hand. I'm not just moving my wrist, I move my entire hand when I do this. I think this is going to be it. All right, the next one I'll do is a Q. It's very similar, but the main difference is that this stroke we want to go the other way, so it's pretty much like an L stroke, where we start up this direction, pull down, moving our entire hand, and at the bottom of that one, we give it the swoop just like we would on an L. We start with the C stroke. We create the swoop up like that. I'm going to try to quickly finish this lesson before my classroom fills. Hola, niña. Niño. It says hello, boy. All right, we're going to do an O now. We can start with a C. You're famous now. You're on my YouTube channel.
Me?
Our conversation.
Oh, not me.
Just now.
Really?
When I said hola, niña. Yeah, I'm recording right now. I'm supposed to be famous by noon. I missed my deadline today. I'm just going to. I am going to attempt to finish up with an A. And the A goes like this. Same stroke. Start with that C stroke. I can call it that. Begin with the G coming downwards, but then we'll finish it off there. Once again, if I had to choose how wide this is going to be, let's make that space a little bit less than the width of the pen. I may be making these wider. I might have to reshoot. I don't know. Curve at the top, straight down, curve at the bottom. Thank you guys for your patience.